All right, I just wanted to do a little Friday finisher here for you guys. Kind of follow up with Dr. King's blog article on treatment plans and some of the questions that we've gotten from that. So, if you haven't yet, please check out Dr. King's blog. It's on our website, motionpalpation.org. Um, it's all about treatment plans and why treatment plans are important. He mentions the analogy of going to an oncologist and not getting a treatment plan. Somebody's just saying, well, yeah, you have cancer. We'll just have you come back in a couple of weeks. We'll just see how it goes. Like if you really want to kill a treatment plan, then those are the words that you can use to absolutely destroy that person ever from coming back is to say, we'll just see how it goes. And so, people want treatment plans. They want to be, you know, felt like it's important enough for them to have you lay out a treatment plan to explain not only, the number of visits, 2 times a week for 3 weeks, 3 times a week for 3 weeks, whatever it is, you can still do ethical treatment plans. I think um, we've gotten so worried about being the over-treating doc and the negative stigma that sometimes came with those treatment plans. And actually, if you want to know where those came from, it was a necessity. Like at the time, Dr. Parker of the Parker College was the one who did the 3 times a week for 4 weeks, 2 times a week, those kinds of things, because the profession was actually kind of drying up on the vine financially. And so he actually stepped in and gave everybody kind of a script to follow so that they could actually make a professional living. And obviously, some people took it too far, and it became, kind of what we have today about the jokes of treatment planning and those kinds of things. How many chiropractors does it take to change a light bulb? Just one, but it takes 38 visits. Um, so, what Dr. King laid out was his kind of his idea behind ethical treatment planning and why it's important and why it will help build your practice. Because if you don't want people to come back and you don't want a busy practice, then you just do the under treating thing. Like you just say, let's see how it goes. And I would also add that, until you actually dive in and start doing treatment plans and sticking to them for, at least 3 to 4 weeks to start, you may not see any changes in the adaptative process until that third or fourth week. And so sometimes the magic actually happens, and more times than not, the magic actually happens at the end of your treatment plan. That's when things start to really change. It's kind of like what Dr. Fay said in some of his classes. People aren't cars. You can't fix them. They're more like gardens. You have to get the soil right before you can plant a crop. And so that's what the treatment plan allows you to do, is it allows you to make positive adaptative changes to that person and to their function. And that's when you start to see really cool things. You start to see um, changes happen in things that you weren't sure were ever going to be able to happen. And they usually happen at the end of the treatment plan. And if you're not confident enough to stick with the treatment plan, then you're not going to see those magic things happen. And so I would encourage you, especially young docs who are so afraid of overtreating, to do that, to actually have a treatment plan that you stick with, and just stick with it. Even if you're not getting the changes you think you should be getting early on, and you're not always going to, at the end of that treatment plan, you're going to see some really cool things happen. And so I would encourage you to stick with that. One of the questions I saw that Dr. Christie had on his modern chiropractic marketing page was about how you do how you get that treatment plan from the treatment room to the front desk. And what Dr. King does is, because he has different services in his building, the patients actually have like a travel card. So they just have a card that goes with them wherever they go. So from the time they walk in, they're given this travel card that has their name on it. Um, and he writes the treatment plan on that. They take it to whatever other service, if they go to massage therapy, physical therapy, rehab, whatever it is they do that day, they take that with them. And then at the end, when they check out, they have to turn that card back in. And that's how the treatment plan gets from the treatment room to the front desk to schedule. And so you could do something similar. Even if you have a small office, you could just write it down on a piece of paper, or get some sort of travel card, put it on their note or their chart if you have that. Or you could even just message it. Like if you have, we have ChiroTouch, you could do it through a messenger system that way too. So there's lots of different ways so that you're not yelling the treatment plan across the room. Um, to do that. But that was one of the questions that we had. So that's one way you could do it. You could do a card, write it down. You could just hand it to your front desk person, or you could even do a message through your kind of your software. That'd be one way to do it. And so those were some of the things that we had about treatment plans. I would highly encourage you to visit the website and check that out, because Dr. King does a good job. He's actually a really good writer when it comes to when he sits down and writes these articles. And so I would highly encourage you to do that. Um, and so that's kind of what I wanted to touch on today in the Friday Finisher. I'm doing this on YouTube so that I can start to put more and more things out there for you in the YouTube world, so that you have access to those resources. And one of the things I do a newsletter. I just started. I do a weekly newsletter, and this week's newsletter was all about a patient of mine that's going through radiation. And at the end of the kind of the discussion that we were having, we went through a whole bunch of different things, what we were doing here, how it would change, what would, what the goal is, and those kinds of things. And at the end of it, she just asked me, she's like, well, so what do you think, doc? And in all of my like intelligence and, a bachelor's degree in human biology, a bachelor's science in medical technology, a doctorate in chiropractic, and all of those, you know, highly educated degrees that I have, the answer I gave her was, you got this. And that's all I said. And that's because I really kind of just was like, normally I would break things down. I'd explain every little facet and aspect of the treatment. And that's all I had for her was, you got this. And you could tell she was, worried and concerned and scared and all those kinds of things. And she just kind of broke down in tears. And that really like took me back, that sometimes you just need a little bit of encouragement, and you need to tell people that they are powerful and they have the ability to figure things out, and to the ability and the power in them to get through the really hard things. And at the end of it, they'll be better people for it. And so, all of you guys out there, keep that in mind. A few small encouraging words can go a long, long way with your people, in your patients that come through your office, the people that are important to you in your life, the if you coach youth kids, the kids that you coach, or the kids that you have living in your house, and just people in general that you care about. Some encouraging words go a long way. And I would encourage you guys to look for that, to help lift people up and not push them down. So for all of you guys out there in the MPI world, thank you so much for all you do for us, and you got this.